Alright, we are back at it again. So I'm going to start on the front end on this. I'm going to start getting the forks taken apart and everything and get the new forks put in. Ignore the bench. It is a mess because I am working on a motorcycle. So I'm going to set you all up on the tripod and get you all a good view in here and show you all what I am doing. And if you can hear the rain outside, I apologize, it is raining. Alright, so I'm going to get a little flathead screwdriver, pop this dust seal off. Down inside of here is this snap ring. You can just reach down in there and grab a hold of it. That thing will pop right out. You'll see these little here. So you don't have to do this off the motorcycle, it's just easier. So there's that. Actually, one thing to do here, this cap here, loosen this cap on the motorcycle, and then before you take this off, loosen the drain plug out of the bottom here. And be careful because this is under tension, and that, if you can see, is from me not being careful. It's not going to come flying out of there, but it's going to have some pressure behind it. It's definitely going to jump, so be prepared for it. There it goes. Alright. Now this is going to be very messy when it comes out here though. Get us some kind of a rag layer parts down on. And pull out this tube here. And clamp down on this. It's going to be your spring. The spring is going to be, before we get to the spring, there's this spacer. And then the spring, this spring is going to be saturated in oil, so be careful. Next, I've already broke this bolt down here free. I'm going to go into the other room, undo the bolt, drain all the fluid out of this, and I'll be right back. Alright, I'm going to have some oil still draining out. Make sure you have a place that it can just drop and be okay. Alright, now I'm going to do a kind of a slide hammer action on this, and we're gonna there we go. There's that part. This part I no longer need. So now I'll pull that off, pull this dust seal or that oil seal off, so that ring, the bushing. You don't have to replace the bushings. I am, so there's that. And then this piece will come out this way with another O-ring, or with another spring. Now, I am only dropping this bike 1 inch, so need that spacer, and then this piece can go back in there. This piece will go on the end of that. And take this new bushing, carefully put it over that. going to take our new CBR 600 F3 lower. We're going to run that down in there, just like that. Now if you get the bushing kit, it's going to come with all new, of course, the bushings, and then it'll come with new seals as well. So you got this new seal right here. I'm going to take one of the springs, just shove in there temporarily. That'll apply just a little bit of pressure on that stanchion tube. And we're just going to stuff that down in there and screw that in. That doesn't have to be tight. We'll tighten it up when we get done. Next part is going to be, of course, put this ring back in on top of the spring, and then this tube. I'll wipe it down. There we go. Now this, there is a handy dandy chart here, and for the 94 to 03 BF70, to lower 1 inch, it needs to be 4 inches long. Okay, so quick little break here. I'm done with the job, and I just realized something, and I'm gonna throw this in kind of here in the middle. So I've already got the forks in. These bolts aren't torqued or anything yet, but these caps. So in here is a little steel tube. It's a spacer. Well, I didn't want to chop up the factory Magna spacers, and there is a plastic spacer in here now, a PVC insert. That is strong enough, it'll work, but if you're doing the swap and you're doing the progressive springs, you have to cut down the steel spacers to 4 inches. I have discovered, since I'm doing the CBR swap, I had forks for the front of a CBR. The spacers on those is exactly 4 inches. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to swap them out off camera. No point in going over that again, but these will work out of a CBR 600 F3. So according to this chart for this bike, lower it 1 inch, we're going to cut it down to 4 inches. Now, if you don't feel like doing that, they do provide this piece of tubing. You can cut this to 4 inches. Then you don't have to mess up yours. Either way, I may end up just using this, just so that way that's not messed up. Alright, so I cut this down to 4 inches, and I went on ahead and used this rather than the tube that comes in it, just because this is easier and cheaper to replace than this is going to be. So I'm just going to save these. I'm not going to cut them down. So I'm going to cut this down. So now we're going to put that washer on top. Put that there. And we're going to take this cap and replace this O-ring, because we have a new one now. And that's going to be the one. I had to go back over the other one and kind of get a refresher on this. It's been a minute since I've done one, and I've probably should quit working by now, but I'm going to continue on. So what we're going to do now, once we get this here, take our bushing. We're going to take some new fork wool, put a little bit in this cap. And coat the inside and the outside. Okay, and that is going to go over that. Next, we're going to take our washer, make sure it's clean. This washer is going to go over top of that bushing, and then we're going to take our installation tool, give it a couple of good smacks. That should have everything lined up. I'm putting gloves on just because the impacts, I have arthritis in my hand, the impacts will start messing with that. Years of being a mechanic. Check this every so often. Make sure, see where that bushing is. In my back pocket. Alright, that bushing is seated all the way in. Also, I have a purple Streamlight flashlight that I bought just because it closely matches the bike. Alright, we'll leave that washer in there. Pull that out. We're going to take our other seal. Not too many seals here. There's the other new seal. I'm going to put a little bit of fork wool on the new seal. Careful installing it that you don't pinch the seal, because you can cut it on here. I'm not too worried about it, it's pretty smooth, but it can happen. Once again, a couple of pops with this. Looks like that's all the way down. Let's see. The All Balls bushing kit comes with new retaining clips, so we'll put the new retaining clip in. Alright, and it is seated all the way. Next we'll take our dust cap, put it on there. Now I'm just going to use a screwdriver to push it down in there. This part's not super critical. Now we're going to take, it's 521 milliliters is the capacity for this. I have a terrible way of measuring this, So the closest accurate I can get is 530, which honestly is close enough. Now I'm using 15 weight wool. That's 150. That's 300. This is 450. And this one measures 150 and 80, so I'm going to go to 80. That'll put me at 530, which is close enough. Alright, and expel any air. There we go. Now we're going to take our spring. If you're using a progressive springs, the coils go up, the tight wound coils go up. Put that in there. We're going to take our little washer, and then we're going to take this PVC pipe we cut up. That up there. And once again, the All Balls Racing kit came with new seals up here too. There we go. That was a lot of work, but both of them are done. So next, I guess I don't know if we're gonna start with the front or we'll start with the rear. Been kind of working on both. Got the forks done on the front. I didn't film any of it, but I got the master cylinder on the rear mounted. I'm not happy with it, so I tried doing a little bolt-on bracket and it didn't work. So I'm gonna actually make a I'm gonna actually weld it to the frame. So I'll show you all that in the next video. Start working on getting these forks in. First, I need to clean up my mess. Oh, before we get too ahead of ourselves here. This one is going to go on just like so. That will go here. Just like so. There we go. Not worried about this being super tight, just worried about it being on there. These do not, that's plastic. They give a little bit, but they don't exactly bend. So make sure to put these on before putting the forks in. Well, that wasn't very difficult. So, next is, I guess let's start putting the wheel in. Alright. So, on the front, actually before I get too far ahead of myself, I want to make sure that I've got the pinch bolts tight. On the front forks, we're going to insert that CBR 900RR rear wheel spacer. Fits right there. And then the wheel and the Magna stock spacer here, or the speed sensor. And on the left side or right side, I have the stock Magna spacer there as well. So here it is, front wheel on. Now I am going to take a couple of quick measurements here, make sure everything's 100%. Now it's almost perfect. There's 3/16 of an inch difference, so alright, so here we are. Got the axle bolt in, CBR spacer, the Honda Magna speed sensor, and then the Honda Magna stock spacer, and then of course this bolt here. We're about to tighten this bolt up. This bolt's torque spec is 43 foot-pounds. And then the pinch bolts, don't remember what those are, 16 foot-pounds. So let's get those put on. Alright, once again, we're going to go to 43 foot-pounds. Now, 16 foot-pounds on the pinch bolts. I do not have a 3/8 inch torque wrench, I'd be using that. But this goes down small enough that this will work. Like I was saying, the wheel is slightly off, but it's not much. Actually, by doing what I just did, I'm now only less than an 1/8 inch off center. I can live with that. So something that I do have and want to make work at some point is actually a front fairing for the CBR, but it currently will not work because the Magna is wider. So what I'm actually going to end up doing is cutting this right down the middle, setting it on the bike, bolting it up, and then I will fiberglass over that and then fiberglass this bottom. And but I don't think that's going to happen right now, but when I go to do this, it will I think that'll look pretty good. So I think that's pretty much going to be about it for today's video. The fender's just setting on there, but we've got the front wheel mounted. I've got to figure out some kind of a way of mounting up the front fender. The rear fender, of course, will mount factory location. But we've got the front and rear wheel and suspension done. I do have to tighten up these two pinch bolts, and then earlier in the video I mentioned the CBR 600 F3 spacers. I have not put those in yet. I literally just filmed that clip, so I'm gonna off camera swap that out, torque all this stuff down. While I am on camera though, let's see here. The fork cap bolt. The fork cap bolt is 17 foot-pounds. That's this bolt here is 17 foot-pounds. The upper fork pinch bolt is 20 foot-pounds and 28 foot-pounds. And then of course 43 foot-pounds for the axle bolt and 16 foot-pounds for the pinch bolts. So that's all the torque specs on that. So that's pretty much it. If you did, be sure to smash that like button. comment down below. Let me know what y'all think of this build. Let me know what y'all think of this project. I am loving it. It is really nice to me. And yeah, so I'll see y'all on the next one. Bye.